Welcome to Life's a Coach. Our mission is to empower individuals like you to take charge of your life, discover your purpose, and elevate your performance to new heights. Each week, we'll be diving into engaging discussions, introducing you to valuable tools from the coaching world, and giving you different perspectives on individual development. Whether you're seeking clarity, motivation, or a fresh perspective, we've got you covered. Again, welcome to Life's a Coach, where the power to transform your life begins now.
Welcome back to Life's a Coach podcast, guys. Our mission is to amplify the impact of coaching by inspiring individuals to take action, discover their purpose, and enhance performance. Today, we have life coaches Almar and Avril on the line. And we're going to be talking about self-image. So to get us kicked off, guys, I'm going to be asking you. First of all, I'll read a quote for you. Self-image is knowing who I am, what I stand for, and what I represent. So I'm going to ask you guys, who are you? What do you stand for? And what do you represent? We'll go to Avril first.
Oh, thank you.
Being a gentleman.
I
Wait a
love
minute.
this.
I thought it's like ladies first, you know?
I
Ladies
thought
first.
maybe
okay.
I might throw in. I was going to throw in equality into one of my mixes, but I'm going to pull that one back.
Oh, all right. That's juicy. Can you say the question again? What is it?
Okay, so who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What do you stand for? And what do you represent?
Who am I? What do I stand for? What do I represent? My name is Avril Yoswat Munduru. I am generally, I'm a healer. And I stand for people's freedom and empowerment in all elements of health. This is mental health, physical health, spiritual health. That's what I stand for.
Fantastic. Wow,
Lovely.
that was great.
That is beautiful.
That was great.
You know,
I've done this before.
I will say,
Yeah,
gosh,
right.
will you judge me if I follow suit? Because gosh, I stand also
Would I judge you if you copy what I just said?
Yeah, but it's not. It's like, see there, there's the downside of not going first. But yeah, freedom for sure. And empowerment, absolutely. I stand for them. Who I am, I'm a life student. And, yeah. And I don't know. I want to say that I am open. And what was the other one? So who I am? What do I stand for?
Who you stand for? What you stand for and what you represent?
Who I represent. God, I represent the individual.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Based
That's
off
just
of
off
your
the cuff.
answers, I've kind of created mine as I'm taking notes. I would say I am a leader, I'm an educator, and I'm a student. As I learn from you guys every single day. And I think that's perhaps what maybe separates me from other people, is that I try to take learning from every situation and scenario. What I stand for, that's a tough one, right? Even when I was reading that, because it goes deeper, right? Very much into self-image, which we're going to be talking about today. So what I stand for is, I would say that I stand for acceptance, awareness, and actualization. Yeah, I would say that those three kind of really resonate with me. And I think I represent like all development. I'm like, just when I think of anything, to do with my own self-image and what I want to transmit is, development. Just the act of, improving and developing as a person, and that has changed a lot from previously. I used to think it was more of a mental and physical improvement and development, but I've learned to understand that it's a bit deeper than that.
That's
But as you can tell
beautiful.
from our answers, right? I think, as you can tell from our answers, there's a lot of nuance to it, right? How difficult was it, and what did you have to do to come up with the answer to that question for yourself?
Yeah. First of all, I just have to say that both you, Eric, and Avril's answers were just beautiful. And I dare guess that on any other day, each of you could swap each other's answers. And isn't that interesting about self-image, huh? It's just we're constantly evolving. Like right now, I am not the same person I was 30 seconds ago.
Mhm.
And I may just have been influenced by the two of you, and now perhaps what I stand for or what I believe might be enhanced or changed somehow. I don't know. And we're all chameleons in some way. Of course, our foundation, our values, I think, is something that underpins maybe all of what we stand for and identify with. I don't know. Anyhow, Averill, what do you think? I took over. Sorry.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Um, I, I don't know. I think my mindset is going on a little bit of a tangent or a rabbit hole when you spoke about um, that we're evolving, like who you were 10, 30 seconds ago, you're not that. I was like, okay. Um,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, great. Do it.
Um, but funny enough as well, when you first started talking, my mind also was going in the direction of trying to connect the two between self-image and you just mentioned something along the lines of being influenced by what Eric and I had shared. All right. And I was like, it's interesting. I don't know how my mind was trying to tie that into coaching. Like, wow, what influences are from the outside can affect our self-image and how the role of how sometimes coaching comes into that. Maybe I was just trying to tie it too soon, but my mind went there
May
before we even
I?
go deep into self-image as a topic.
Well, may I just, you mentioned coaching, and
Mm,
I think one of the greatest gifts or one of the tools that, well, coaching is a tool, but
mm,
something that we as coaches offer is to help you explore a little deeper into who you are. Because, Eric
mm,
said he's a leader, and I
mm,
thought, well, yeah, I'm a leader too.
mm,
But it wasn't the first thing that came to my mind.
mm,
I mean, we're
mm,
so many things, and how beautiful it is to work with someone, and in this case, I'm working with the two of you
mm,
to help peel back some of the layers. And like, yeah, I'm a lot of things, as we are
mm,
a lot of things, and we
mm,
represent a lot of things. And
mm.
so Eric, good question, but boy, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
It's a tough one
and
that
I love the fact that when also said like the answer I gave, the answer Eric gave could easily be vice versa. Like Eric in a different day, Eric could give that, I could give what his answer said as well.
Mhm.
So with what you're saying now, it gets me to a point like, wow, at times what we think of ourselves or the first thing that comes to mind if you're asked who you are or what you do is based on either in that moment my perspective of myself in that moment and the role that I'm playing, you know, and I may actually forget or not some of my attributes may not necessarily come to my mind. Other things of who I am and what I do may not necessarily come to mind at that moment. So that's why I was thinking like, wait, this is kind of reminds me of sometimes when you're in a coaching session where you come in with a problem on an issue, and because you are not necessarily being victim, what I'll just use that as an example, but you're going through something, right? And you're only focused on that thing. And as you talking at times, the coach then gets to reflect to you other attributes of who you are, not just right now I'm identifying myself with this situation. So even the way that I've been carrying myself in the past week, my self image is being affected by this situation that I'm going through, right?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
then through coaching as well, you get to see, yes, that situation is what I'm going through, but it's not who I am as well. And I've also got these other attributes of who I am that can show up to even alleviate the situation.
I
Sorry,
think you
I'm
both.
going
I
deep.
think you both can. No,
I'm going
no,
deep.
it
Let's
is.
go.
No, it's great.
Deep
And
dive.
I'm gonna ask both of you because Eric, your question could also be broken down in two ways. One is self-image, my personal self-image, or I'm going back to what we're all familiar hearing, is that I am who you think. What is it?
I'm
Help
not
me
what
out,
you. I'm
guys.
not what you think I am. I'm not what you
No,
think I am.
no.
No, I'm
I
gonna
am
pull it up.
I am who you think I am. That's who I am.
Charles Cooley quote. I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am.
Bravo. There it
Exactly.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanks,
I know it
Mr.
was, yeah,
Cooley.
absolutely. That's a great quote for this topic for sure.
Of
Break that down
self-image.
for
Yeah.
us though.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's
Can you
break
repeat
that
again?
down.
Can you repeat it again? The quote.
So I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am.
Juicy.
Wow.
Juicy. 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 Yep.
For me, that comes really back to today's society where we are so worried about the perception of ourselves that we're losing sight of who we are at our cores. So as you spoke about, Avril, the context specific nature of self-image, as you said, if you're here at a podcast with us versus if you're out with family versus if you're with a group of friends, you might show a different Avril because of the perception of others and how they perceive you. You know, you want to fit that mold that they've kind of what they see you as, if that makes sense, right? I feel depending on how comfortable we are in that situation and how comfortable we are with with who we are as well. I think that we can show different sides of ourselves, but I definitely feel that it's a tricky one. But yeah, I'm
Does that
totally
mean we're
interested in your
it's
thoughts.
not authentic, our authentic selves? Is that what is it?
I think there is an authentic self. Go on.
Yeah, but with what you're saying, Eric, I feel like okay, so the question's about self-image, right? Right?
Yep.
But with what you're saying, I feel like you're touching the aspect or the element of the different matrons or different hats we wear, right? So in one moment I may be in daddy role and I got my daddy hat on, right? And in 1 minute I'm in business mode, I got my business hat on, right? But the essence of who I am at least should shine through. And if it shines through, then I'm still being authentic to myself in those different roles that I'm playing. However, coming back to our topic, at least the way I see it is like, wait, but if the questions about self-image and like how I perceive myself, like who I am, isn't that mainly talking to the core of who I am than the roles that I am? Because I can definitely see myself differently. Ooh. Ooh.
You just looked. April just looked down a rabbit
You
hole.
did. Are you gonna
Just looked
dive?
down a rabbit hole. Go on, put it out there.
All right. Because I was just thinking, talk about self-image. I mean, one thing crossed my mind, it's like, okay, there are certain places that I feel confident who I am, right? But for example, let's say I've only been a life coach, at least practicing like this for about 6-8 months now, right now. There's the places where I'm not yet fully confident in myself. I'm not saying that I'm not competent, but I don't feel confident in myself, right? So I may feel I'm not good at this, right? Or competent at this. But those that work with me may have a different view of how they see me, right? So my self-image may be like I'm putting myself at a 5, when others look and go, no, Avery, you're 10. So that thing of like part of self-image, or am I going down a rabbit hole? Help me. Someone pull me out. Do I have
No. I think I'm gonna come in there
No,
with you.
I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, me too. We're enjoying from up here. We're staying up here. and we're
you're
looking
watching
down
me
at
go
you.
down.
It's lovely.
Throw a rope. Someone throw a rope.
We can hardly see you. That's great. Yeah.
Oh,
No, it's
Eric.
super interesting.
Thoughts,
I think
thoughts.
what you're talking about is exactly the conundrum that I think that I was talking about. So help me out here, Avril, because I'm going to try and reflect back on what you're talking about. So you said as a coach, there are some aspects within you as a life coach that you feel more or less confident in, right? But now the perception of, let's say, someone that you're coaching may be completely different to your own image of perhaps your competency in those levels. Is that fair?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And so self-image is really how you see yourself within that context, within any context, right?
Yes. Yes.
But I definitely feel that like going back to the Charles Cooley quote that Almar succinctly put, I think that is like bringing that back into the fray. I think that other people's perception of our self-image has an effect on our own self-image, right? So if we are perceived as being a leader, right? Some of the best leaders, throughout history, perhaps were not ready to be a leader, but that was what they were being called to be, right? Teachers, right? I think that, there's this whole debate about the chicken and the egg with regards to confidence and competence, right? So when you have like a confident self-image of yourself, you feel as if that comes from competence. You build skills and qualities around a specific topic, for example, asking deep and powerful questions, right? So because you build competence, you become more confident about your ability to ask deep and powerful questions. But there's a flip side to that, right? Because if you act with confidence, asking deep and powerful questions, the perception to others is, they are competent in this skill. So I guess, going back to Avril's original comment, like I'm going back to originally, like again, Almar said, your authentic self, that's your core self, right? That's like the deepest part of you that really is at your core, right? That's who you are deep down. Yeah. If we use that term, I know there's different ways of describing it. So our self-identity is who we present to the world, kind of, how do we go from here to here, if that makes sense, right? So how do we bring this authentic part to the fore, to the surface, so that everyone can see who we truly are, rather than us playing this character, right?
I'd like to add, Avril, that every single person on the planet is afflicted with the skewed idea that they are not competent enough, that they are many levels below what I'm not even going to segue into. I think they call that imposter syndrome. I don't want to use that word. It's overused, but I think just to let you know that that does not affect who you are, really. That's just an illusion that we all carry around with us. And with that, and with everybody listening to the question of our authentic self, and how do we come from that place more than from our perceived public self. And I say one little step at a time, but it does take practice for sure. And and I would like to dispel this myth that there is a hierarchy in the world, that the person next to you or across the street is better or knows more or is more competent than you. I think that is a crutch that keeps people from truly embracing their authentic selves or even investigating who their authentic selves is. I'd like to basically say that there are no lines in the world. They're all invisible. There is nothing dividing you and me at all. And I think once we really start to taste that, we can settle in and relax a little bit and celebrate our quirks, because we're all such beautiful, unique beings, all here for a purpose. There's, it's a harmony of life. Like it is a sheet of music, and we need every single note on it to create this magnificent sonnet. And what if we were reminded of that every day, that we are magnificent, and that flaws, perceived flaws, because I don't believe really that there are just like magic. They're your special magic, your special sauce, I guess you can say. And I don't mean to come off all flowery and idealistic, but I just want to throw it back to you guys. How would you paint the first step into really getting to know your authentic self and not being afraid to let it show in any circumstance? And I'm not saying, wearing a leadership hat today and tomorrow wearing a healer's hat, because we are everything. We are the universe all into one. But what is our unique sound? I think that's what the question is, right? What is your unique sound, and how can you sing it out loud? Am I being too sing-songy? Sorry, but
No.
yeah.
I think it's great. I know Averill definitely has some points on this, because
No,
I feel as if Averill is further along the journey. But I'm gonna share my part of the journey for sure. I will. I wasn't you ushering you in, because I definitely feel.
You know what? The last time he was like, Averill, you go first. Eric, you go first.
Yeah, I won't do that again. I've learned. Hey, I pulled you out of that rabbit hole, so I'll jump into this one for sure. So who is my authentic self? I guess you were asking, right? And how do you bring that to the fore? I think I've been on somewhat of a journey, and I've said this before, I'm towards the beginning part of that journey, but I've gained momentum, right? I've gained momentum along the way. For many years, I was molded by other people's perceptions of me about who I truly was, what my identity was, and basically I think your self-image goes into everything about you, right? Like the authentic self. It goes into, your likes, your dislikes, and I feel at the core of the authentic self, and almost, I like to say, almost holding, if you see them as like people, if that makes sense, right? I always close my eyes and see my authentic self as my older self, my supreme self, like the old man me. Do you know what I mean? Who knows all the wisdom, and kind of has learned everything, and he's holding. Goosebumps.
That's beautiful.
He's holding my hand. No, cool. He's holding my hand, like myself right now, and then I'm holding my inner child hand. So the child me.
That's beautiful.
And deep down, yeah, no, thank you, I appreciate that. And it's I'm still along this journey. So I haven't quite caught everything up, but with this inner child, I think the connection between all three needs to that's what's been like kind of like coming through, if that makes sense, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
I am able to connect, like there's times where I'm very petulant and I reactive, right? And like I always just used to think that's just me. Do you know what I mean? Like or
Mm-hmm.
I'm annoyed and things like that. But understanding that that's my inner child, that's someone deep inside of me, like telling me or warning me, okay, this isn't safe. Do you know what I mean? Like from a kid's point of view. Um, Sorry if I'm going down this weird rabbit hole, but
No, it's
I'm
beautiful.
also it's helping me as well to kind of to verbalize and understand. So like tapping into that part of me has allowed me to realize that that's a part of me that I need to accept, and that that's part of my authentic self, versus you know this kind of feeling that I need to hide that from people, if that makes sense, right? Like I used to think that I used to kind of almost I used to like reject this side of me of and almost have this reflective feeling of, oh, why am I acting this way? Almost this feeling of shame of I shouldn't, I shouldn't act this way. I shouldn't feel jealous or upset or reactive, because I'm supposed to be this way. And this is where I think the world's portrayal of how we should think or feel is dangerous, right? Because I think when we see this picture, like we feel shameful if we're not this perfect version of ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So I guess to get to the point, I've tried to tap into one, my inner child, but also my body, right? My body, because I was in my head way too much, and I always used to like kind of just I was not in the moment. I was like not in the moment at all. So I think mindfulness. I started yoga like 2 days ago. Being in your body, that's the hardest thing I've ever done in my
Yeah.
life from a physical standpoint. So yeah,
Yes.
that synchronicity between mind, body, and soul is what I think is part of the way you can tap into your authentic self. But
Hmm.
definitely interested in your thoughts.
Wow. Okay. Is this where we going?
Yeah, yeah. I
Is
just I
this where
put
we
that
going?
down. This is like a therapy session for me because I haven't quite gone there yet. It's in my mind. You can tell that it's like there, it resonates, but it's not fully clear for me. But I'd love to hear your thoughts to gain more resonance.
Sure. Actually, I feel like
Both of you.
I got a little. So, Alma, what was your question again, or where were you taking us?
I wanted just to take the two of you and our audience. It's like, yeah, sure. We know what our identity that we show to the world is, and okay, we're talking a little
Mm-hmm.
bit about that it changes. It's based on many different factors, but I think we're all secretly
Still there, April?
longing to live from our
I'm here.
authentic
Alma,
self.
you still there?
Ah,
I'm still here. Yeah? Did you lose me?
sorry, lost you there
I
for a
Yes.
did
second.
you
We
lose
lost you
me?
for a sec. Yeah, for a sec,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, basically, I'm just thinking that I think everyone secretly longs to live from their authentic self, authentically,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
live an authentic life. And a lot of people don't even realize that they are not. And so, my question to the both of you and to our audience was, what is the first step in exploring not just our authentic self, but living from it? And
Mm-hmm.
Eric's answer, tapping into basically leading with the body and not the mind, I thought was brilliant, perfect, because
Mm-hmm.
it's the
Mm-hmm.
mind that holds us back, but the body, and then his exercises with, the meditation and yoga, which congratulations, um, is are perfect
Don't congratulate me yet.
exercises to tap in. Oh, every day is a day we're celebrating. So, yeah, so I thought those were excellent, and I agree.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Actually, I agree. But so now, Averill, that that was me recapping. But what do you think?
Okay. So, from what I'm getting is like, Alma, you're saying between Eric and I and our audience out there, like, what are the steps one can take to get in touch with their authentic self? Is that
Yeah.
correct?
I think that was my question.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What?
Who?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I love the way where Eric took it. You know, when you start talking about inner child work and stuff like that, you're right up my alley.
Mhm.
I'm all about doing the shadow work and inner child work and that kind of stuff. So, um, I would say the reason at times we don't have an authentic self, or at times we don't present ourselves authentically out there, is because of fear of rejection.
Mm.
Um, then so then there comes the people pleasing because I want to be accepted. I either want to be accepted in this crowd, I want to be seen some kind of way with this group. You know, whether it's the in-laws or whether it's a new group of people I've worked with, the new workmates and stuff like that. So I think ultimately what I see is the fear of being rejected or being outcast. Right? It then makes us trying to be something that we are not to be accepted. You know, that's kind of the way I see it and how I started my journey. I used to be a huge people pleaser, and when I started doing my journey, I realized like, ooh, I'm not showing up authentically in certain places. You know, I'm like, oh, I like this. Why? Because the group likes this. Oh, we're about to go for dinner. Where are we going? Oh, I don't like that restaurant, but you know, I'm just gonna go with it, even if I don't like it, because I want to be, you know. But my voice matters, and the thing is that even in that crowd setting where I don't speak my voice, it's just a reflection of me not speaking for myself in other areas for me, kind of thing.
Wow.
So where do we start? What's the first step of living an authentic life? I think it kind of embodies some of the stuff that Eric spoke about, like just first being authentic to yourself, right? Being present here, present with me, and being aware of my thoughts, being aware of the reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing, right? And it involves, like you say, being present to your body, being present to your thoughts, mindfulness, all that kind of stuff. It because let's say, for example, you're practicing mindfulness, and you're just sitting, meditating, whatever you literally watching your thoughts go by, and in those thoughts is the persona or the identity of the ego, the person that has been conditioned by the way we've been living life, right? So that part of Avro that has been comes out of all these conditions is the part that is people pleasing and all this kind of stuff. So I get to observe him first, all right, and then kind of accept him because he's only just trying to be accepted, all right. I get to accept him, right. This is where the like you're saying, Eric, the inner child work comes in of not being ashamed anymore because he's conditioned to be ashamed in some of this situation. But like, no, I accept you where you are, accept you how you are. You know, let's work with that. So it's not like it's more about working with oneself first before you even go externally. Then out of that, at least for me, that's how my journey started. I don't want to go into a
100%.
rabbit hole. Like I said, I can talk
No,
about this stuff a lot. I love this kind of
I love that.
talk. Yeah.
I don't know about you, Amar, but that resonates deeply with me because, as I said before, I was a person who, you know, one question I asked my clients that I wish I was asked, which would have like helped me smell what was happening, or helped me like kind of, you know, wake up and taste the coffee almost, that something was wrong
Mm-hmm.
because I lived like this for so long and I was conditioned in this way, was what do you want from your life? And I think if you think about that, that's such a difficult and loaded question because originally, again, we've been preconditioned to think certain things, right? So we can lose sight of what we really want and what we really like. Do you know what I mean? And like the foods that we like going as deep as, you know, the activities that you really like to do that you really enjoy because for whatever reason, as Avril mentioned, we submit ourselves to other people's needs and wants and desires to fit in to this persona that will be accepted. And I think it very much goes into, and I think that's a go back into my science. That's something that is preconditioned into us through through just from caveman days and things like that, because we needed to be in a pack, right? We're like humans were able to survive because they were in packs. So from a just a purely physical nature, but also from a social aspect, if you were out on your own, you or if you didn't fit in, you were rejected, and you were much less likely to not to survive, right? So within us, there's that innate nature, right, of wanting to fit in, wanting to be part of the crowd, and to listen to what people are saying. But now, obviously, our hardware has not kind of caught up with today's society, right? Where we're not at in danger of like losing ourselves, right? We're like of dying to a saber-toothed tiger because we're wandering the woods by ourselves. I think we're much more in danger of the opposite, of losing ourselves by submitting to the norm, or like basically that ego self, right? That ego self is telling us, oh, you need to fit in, go and do this, it's fine. And you know what I mean? Like that side that is the easy way, right? It's a deep one, it's a tough one. But no, it definitely resonated with me.
I have
to turn back to your question, Alma, what's your thoughts?
Yeah,
what's your thoughts?
I have a little you said something earlier that left a tight feeling in my stomach, and it was the idea that life is so short, right? And like to wake up one day with maybe more years behind you than you have ahead in front of you, and to realize that you haven't been living your gifted life. You've been living something different and manufactured. Anyway, it's that really caused me to it caused me a bit of alarm and a little bit of fear, and it's one thing we're always being told why we as human beings today act the way we do, and we like to go back to our caveman days to find the reason, and that's all fine. But what I'm really interested in is, what do we do today? All right, that's great. This is why we're this way, and maybe it's comforting to know, but it's not important to me. What's important to me is how do we make today and moving forward like the best day. I know it sounds so simple, right? The best day, but really just and to wake up from that dream that you've been living in, which is a life of construct, and to say no. I have this thing about rejecting authority, but and taking back your power, and taking the leap. I don't know. Anyway, I just all that just came from that realization that came after you had said something along the lines that life is short, and this is it, right here, right now.
I think that that's it exactly, right. It's we need to be in the moment first of all, as you're saying, right. And today is the day. Today is the day, because that is all we have. Right, that is all we have. That is all that exists, really. Right, there is no future. Right, the past is gone. There's no control within that. Right, so that's what I said: being in the body and being in the moment, being grounded, and taking control, as you say. Right, I think, as I said, we're so reactive, based on kind of just the general flow of things, and we're not really paying attention. Right, paying attention to what's inside and what we really want. As you said, Elmar, that we lose sight of the fact that we can choose, right? We can choose the direction that we're going in. Um, and believe me, listeners, if you're willing to take that leap and have that courage, what's on the other side, and I'm not talking about some beautiful outcome and with roses at the end of the finish line, but the way you live your life, it's that journey will be so much more fulfilling if you're living every single day with purpose and living your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just living somebody else's. So 100%. Last thoughts, Avril, Alma, to leave with our listeners as a question to you both. What one thing, I know we've spoken about multiple things, but what one thing can our listeners do to tap into that self-image and their authentic self? One thing that they can start today.
I had a thought. Oh, do you want to go?
No, please. No.
Have you guys ever heard of mirror work?
Oh.
Like, you stand in front of the mirror and you look at yourself and you do mirror work. So, like, for example, and then there are different variables of that. There are different versions of that, where, like, for example, if I dislike the way I look or something like that, it's something that it's sort of like doing positive affirmations about something on a change in my life, but I'm looking at myself in the mirror, if that makes sense. I mean, that makes sense,
Okay.
yes. All right. So,
kind of like the high five habit, Mel Robbins.
does he do it in front of a mirror?
Yeah, well, at least I do it in front of a mirror.
Yes,
The
yeah.
idea of high-fiving yourself in the mirror kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what crossed my mind when you posed that question. Like, for me, it's more doing mirror work is starting, like, okay, because I'm
I
looking
like
at myself in the mirror. Yeah, I'm looking at myself in the mirror. Like, I'm not a construct. Whether it's if I'm meditating, sometimes I'm thinking, oh, this is who I am, kind of thing. It's construct. It's abstract. I mean, but if I'm looking at myself in the mirror, then I'm like, I can start there, where I ask myself, who am I? What's my self-image? What am I seeing? And get into the depths of it. And to be honest, sometimes mirror work, when you first start it, it's like eye gazing. If you've ever done eye gazing exercising or soul gazing exercising, right? It's like it feels awkward and uncomfortable at first when you look at yourself in the mirror and trying to talk to yourself. But once you get to it, you can tap into something that's there.
I like
So
that.
that's my one advice I can throw out there.
I dare say that what I have to offer is not as fun as yours, or exciting. But aside from being a firm advocate to meditation, which I think is magic, I would suggest, so unpopular I know, and I'm sorry guys, is to unplug and spend as much time alone with yourself as possible. I think that's the best way to develop not just a relationship with yourself, but to get to know yourself. But yeah, I am a huge advocate in alone time, and I'm not talking 15 minutes. I'm talking the weekend, Friday nights. Maybe to make it fun, I could say date yourself, but on the down low, just quiet. Anyway, that's what I got. Eric?
Absolutely.
Yourself, Eric? Final thoughts?
Yeah. I would agree with you both that the key is to kind of tap into yourself, right? So, first of all, spending time with yourself, and as I mentioned before, Jay calls it his meds, right? So the key to his self-awareness and living a life of self-actualization. M, meditation or mindfulness. E, exercise, some kind of movement. Doesn't need to be weightlifting or running a triathlon, any type of movement, as I said, that you feel comfortable with and that you're in your body and you're out of your head. Diet, I think, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body will have a huge effect on your mood and how you feel. And then sleep. I think a lot of the time, again, we're affected due to poor sleep habits, poor AM, PM routines, that we, again, lose sight of that fact that we need good sleep as people. So tap into those meds to tap into that self-image. But fantastic. Thanks for playing, guys. So today we've dove deep into this self-image. Hopefully you enjoyed our chat. We went deep down some rabbit holes. Some Averill specials in there. So, if we did add value, please do remember to share with a friend and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments section. Thank you so much, Alma and Averill. It's been a pleasure as always.
Oh, thank you, Averill and Eric. Boy, always a pleasure. It's my favorite time of the week.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Life's a Coach, where our conversations aim to empower and support your personal growth. Until next time, remember that personal development is ongoing, so keep exploring, keep learning, and keep living a life that aligns with your true purpose. Take care, and we'll see you on the next episode of Life's a Coach.